What's up, guys? Sledgehammer70 here. I am in my car driving. Today I want to do a quick vlog on lowering springs for both the stock Camaro, even LT, SS, and cars equipped with the magnetic ride control, or as most of you have learned to call it, MRC, which is just an acronym for it, but whatever. But lowering your car. So I have always been a fan of lowering my cars. Now, my very first car I dropped was my Chevy S10. Loved that truck to death. Dropped it as low as that little body would go. Blocks and springs. It was an interesting lowering effort. Did it in my garage with my buddy. And from there, I was just kind of hooked. You know, there's a lot of reasons that people lower their car. Could be for style, could be to close the wheel gap, could be to lower center of gravity for better performance on the track. There's lots of good reasons to drop a car across the board. That being said, there's a lot of things you have to keep in mind when you're lowering your car. One, you will lose ride quality, regardless if you have magnetic ride control or just a stock setup. Your car will ride a little bit rougher, and the reason for that is you are eliminating spring travel. So as your spring is bouncing up and down, if you eliminate 1.5 inches off of that, there's not as much give, so your car is going to ride a little bit rougher. Now, most people are going to say it's not that big of a deal, and I would agree with them in most cases, but I want to caveat, it depends on how low you go. The lower you go, the worse it's going to be, and there's a lot of things you can do to kind of mitigate that. Some guys will go as far as putting coilovers on their car that are adjustable so they can make it as stiff or soft as they want, or getting different shocks, etc. Now, on my 5th gen, I use the iBox springs to drop my car. It dropped it about, I want to say it was just about 1.25 inches all the way around. But with that being said, the ride quality that derived from that, not necessarily up front, but over time, it just got more and more rough. It wasn't the most ideal situation. My wife didn't really like riding in the car. And I should note, the roads around my city aren't that great. So that probably caused a lot of that complaint from my wife. But it did ride rougher. So I couldn't knock her for it. I definitely noticed it. And over time, I don't want to say like it was beating up my body. It wasn't like the most uncomfortable thing ever. But it definitely changed the ride quality of stock. Now, a lot of guys for the 2016 Camaro, you guys either got the standard or you got the magnetic ride control. For the guys who've gotten the standard setup, there's already quite a few different springs available to drop your car. I've seen quite a few photos. You can see a couple here. But, most of those kits are set up for non-magnetic ride control cars. And the reason why, let me step back. So, it's not to say that you can't lower your car with magnetic ride control. The thing is most of these companies haven't verified or tested their springs on a car that have magnetic ride. Now, for the 5th gens, a lot of guys were able to lower their car, and they were able to keep the functionality of magnetic ride control, and they say they didn't notice any difference. I don't know if that's true for the 6th gen. I haven't seen anybody put lowering springs on a MRC equipped car. So, it's undetermined whether or not it will, one, mess with the MRC or make the car ride terrible if you have MRC. And then 2, if you can actually even do it at all. I'm assuming you can, just like you could the 5th gen, but I haven't seen anybody specifically call it out. So, on the flip side, GM has released their lowering setup for the standard cars, and they did outline a few months back that they are working on a kit for magnetic ride equipped cars. That's awesome news. The manufacturer's creating springs that will, one, keep your warranty on your car and coming up, and two, they might be a little more pricey than some of the ones you would want to pay for from like Eibach or any of the other millions of companies doing these springs. But you know, it's an option, you know, for those of you who are warranty conscious and want to make sure that they don't do anything that's going to jeopardize the vehicle in the sake of if something happens and you brought it into the shop, you want GM to fix whatever potential issues could crop up. So GM is crafting their performance part just like they have their performance brakes and their cold air intake and their body kits, like, and I believe they're working on some suspension kits as well. So I mean, there's a ton of stuff that you can get from GM that was going to keep your car's warranty, which is great. That hasn't necessarily been the case in the past, but it's great to see GM do this kind of stuff for the car owners. But the other side of it is, you know, well, there's not another side of it. So, lowering your car. I'm a big fan of it. I think it looks really clean. I've seen a couple 6th gens lowered. I think they look really nice. Closing that wheel gap does make a difference in how the car looks and sits. One thing I've noticed, and one thing you should keep in mind, is depending on your wheel and tire setup will also depict how much you can lower your car. Now, most of the kits are pretty conservative currently. They're not like slamming the car and making you have to really like adjust the toe and whatnot on your alignment to bump, you know, to kick your tires out and whatnot. I haven't seen anybody get that crazy, and I don't like the look of that on American muscle cars. But I know with my 35 size tires that I was running on these MRR wheels, there was no way I was going to be able to lower the car. I mean, if I was, it was going to be like a half an inch. And why would you do that for a half inch? Like, it didn't make sense. The cost wouldn't be worthwhile, etc. But going to my 30 size tires, it has allowed me to bring lowering the car back into the realm. So honestly, I don't think the wheel gap is that huge on the car currently with the tire and wheel setup that I have. But if I want to go down that road, I'm in a better place to do so now that I have the 30s on front and back, which are the same as the 1LE and the same size, as the ZL1. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Will you guys be lowering your car? Are you guys interested in lowering your car? Do you have questions about lowering cars or lowering springs in general? Let me know in the comments below. I know this was kind of a longer vlog, but appreciate you guys watching it all. And as always, I appreciate the subscribes and likes and even the dislikes. You know, I love it when you guys come in and you're like, "Hey Sledge, you're an idiot. Like, that's not true." Or, "Hey Sledge, you know, I hate springs and this is why." Like, let us know. You know, a lot of people are looking for information, and if you have details or if you've even lowered your car, you know, share links to your vehicle. I'd love to pull your images in and share them in a wrap-up video as well. So, but yeah, thanks for watching. And again, you know, until next time, I'll see you guys on the road.